Charging an HVAC system using the gauges, the manifold gauges, or perhaps the digital gauges. Question: when actually putting in installing these, there's the low pressure side, the high pressure side. The blue being the low pressure side. If one notes two copper lines protruding from the wall, one may have insulation, the larger copper line. This would be your low pressure line. Your smaller copper line, if you have a split HVAC unit, may be your high pressure line. It's kind of counterintuitive because it's confusing. The human mind may think the larger line may be the high pressure, but just dispense with that theory. The larger line may be the low pressure line. The smaller line may be the high pressure line. And one way to tell the larger line, it would be a little bit bigger than your index finger. And your high pressure line would be perhaps half the size of your pinky, somewhere thereabouts. That's a benchmark. It's not a precise theory, just a rule of thumb there. So question: now we have the low pressure side and the high pressure side. Most charging, I shouldn't say most, but many charging applications are done through the low pressure side. So do keep in mind now, okay, we have three ports. We have one handle here. We have one handle here to open and close the unit. We have 1, 2, 3 ports. One port feeds the low pressure side. One port would feed the tank, which may have the refrigerant in it. The red side would feed the small line. So again, let's recap. The blue line may attach to the larger line on the unit. The red line may attach to the smaller line on the unit. The yellow line may attach to the tank. So now one it depends on what type of refrigerant one is using, and it depends on if one has a piston unit or a TXV, which is a thermostatic expansion valve, how they may be charged, and meaning either liquid or vapor. But generally speaking, the refrigerant would come through the refrigerant bottle through this port here, down through here, and so this one I think may be closed. This one would be open, and then it would go here. So now one caveat: when charging these, don't just open it up and let it flow. Let the system start the system up, perhaps. Let the system equalize. Let it run for 10 to 15 minutes. Then slowly put the refrigerant in. Then you can close it off. Let the system continue to run. Let the refrigerant work through the system. Open it back up a little bit. It may not be a good idea just to open it up thinking, oh, well, I need to fill this thing full of refrigerant. So number one, you don't know what your gauges are going to read if you do that. But number two, you could put too much refrigerant in and damage the compressor. So just my opinion is just put a little bit, let it run, throttle it. Say if you were doing it with vapor, the bottle would sit right side up. If you were doing it perhaps liquid, one may turn the bottle upside down, but the yellow hose would feed in. I'm thinking this would be closed, this would be open. Let it run through a little refrigerant, close it. Let the system continue to run. Watch your pressures. See where your pressures are at. Now, if your system is really low and it's down below around 50, that means if you cross-reference that to 30, that means you're at 30 degrees. That means it's freezing. So that temperature really needs to get up to somewhere hypothetically on the low side. If you're doing the vapor, it would need to get up to where this temperature is 40 to 50 to 55 degrees, somewhere in there, in my opinion, because if it gets below freezing, the A coil is going to freeze up. So if you have a low charge, now if you have a low charge and you put refrigerant in it, It's like putting air into a tire with a hole in it. But anyway, let's recap. Many charging applications are done through here. If there's any technicians out there that do this, charge on this side for any reason, if they could add that to the comments and elaborate, that would be helpful to many out there. Perhaps it would be helpful to read those comments. But anyway, so refrigerant comes in, yellow line, comes through, boom, feeds the system, and then you open it up, let it run, put a little refrigerant in it, close it. Let it run, add it, get your pressures right, do your superheat, subcooling. And so anyway, to recap, most of your charging is going to be done on the low side. Thank you for watching. Have a wonderful day. If you find these videos helpful, please like, share, and subscribe, and have a great day.